Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me today. I've got a really fun interactive card to share with you from the stamp market. This is called the Clapperboard, and this die set will cut out an actual moving clapperboard. For the coordinating stamp set, this is called Birthday Takes, and this will actually be the writing on the front of the clapperboard. It's got lots of sentiments included as well, and then there is a matching die set to cut out those sentiments called Birthday Premiere. I'm pulling in an additional birthday set from previous from this release, which is called Cue the Confetti. And here I'm giving you a look at the number dies I'm going to be using. This is from Spellbinders. It's a pretty old set. It's from 2021, but it's called Birthday Wishes for Everyone. Stamp Market does have some large stamp and number dies that you could use with this, but since I had this in my stash, I decided that I would just use these. So I've gone ahead here and cut out all of my pieces. The back portion of the clapperboard does not have a die set. It's just a rectangle. So you want to trim that down to slightly smaller than 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to show you how all that fits together here. So this die cut piece here, we're going to fold over these edges. We're going to basically create a pocket. So I'm going to make sure that those have a really nice straight crease. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab some 1/8 inch Scor-Tape, and I'm going to run that along all 3 of those flaps. Going to make sure that's down nice and tight. And now this is when we're going to pull in that rectangle that we had cut separately. So you'll see as I place this down, it's just slightly smaller than those dimensions. And we're going to peel away the backing on that Scor-Tape and get each of these flaps pressed into place. I went side to side and then down along the bottom. Again, just make sure that's down nice and tight and those creases are nice and straight. So here you'll see we've created our pocket. Now this is what our clapperboard is going to clap into. So now you're going to take this piece that has the little notch on it, and you're going to run that across the top of the front of the pocket. So the flaps are towards the back. And you're going to line this edge up right along the top edge of that pocket. So you want those to be nice and flush. Give that a second to dry. Make sure it's down nice and tight. Again, nice and even. And then we're going to take that little piece that's sticking up there. It has a score line on it when you die cut it out, and fold that over. Add a little bit of glue on top of that and then pinch that together with the back portion. So as you can see, the clapperboard, when it comes up, it's got that little notch at the bottom of it, and that's going to catch in the portion that we've just folded over. It'll make sense as we place this together. Now we're going to take the inside portion. This is our moving portion of the clapperboard. There you can see how it's going to catch on that edge there. And we're going to take one of the plain strips. This is the one without the notch. You can use our glitter glue for this. I decided to go ahead and use Scor-Tape. And you're going to line this up with the hole that's on the side of our little moving clapper piece there. So it will not line up perfectly at the edge. That's okay. What you want to line up is the hole and then the top edge. You want to keep that nice and flush with the top edge of our board here. And then that will slide down in and meet with the other white piece we placed down earlier. So these are the two pieces that are going to clap together. Now, I had a heck of a time trying to get that to fit right inside that fold on the left there. You'll see I will fuss with it several different times as I'm working with this. I will show you as we get towards the end how to make that a little bit easier on yourself. But right now we're working on getting these little arrow pieces placed on top. So the only one you really need to worry about doing in order is this first one that's going to be on the right hand side. They have just a little bit of a flattened piece so that you can line that up right with the edge of your white border. Other than that, you can use all the rest of them in any order that you'd like. I decided to go with sort of a 3-tone with this, and I am using Stamp Market's cardstock. I've pulled out cerulean, cornflower, and navy. And then as I put in my numbers later, you'll see I'm going to pull in some diamond glitter as well. Of course, for the white, I am using my Nina Solar White. So I'm going to alternate these two blue colors. The easiest way I found to line these up was to actually take the piece that I had die cut here and use that as a guide to just sort of keep that zigzag going. Again, I keep fussing with that edge, trying to make this line up nice and perfect. And I just keep working my way back here, a little dot of glue with this arrow and the next. Now, if you use these cutouts to help you space everything evenly, you won't have any trouble, but just make sure if for some reason you get off of the routine, you just want to make sure nothing's covering up that hole, because that is our movement for our card. We need to make sure our brad can fit in there nice and easy. So again, I'm fussing with this, trying to get everything to line up perfectly there on that left-hand edge. I'm going to use a little clip to hold both of those in place. And then finally, this is the answer to this problem. You want to take a bone folder, a pokey tool, something, and just kind of relax that edge a little bit. As soon as I did that, it was so much easier to line everything up. So do that before you put your arrows on. It'll make your life a lot easier. Now this little piece is what's going to actually allow our clapperboard to function. This is kind of like our hinge. So we're going to put a little bit of art glitter glue on the bottom portion, only the bottom portion of that, the piece that's going to touch that first white cardstock strip that we put across on the bottom. Again, we're going to line up the hole there, and then we're going to take our brad, place that inside, stick those flaps over. I kind of always did mine at an angle. That way I knew they were going to stay nice and safe and nothing peeking out on over edge. And now you can see how that's going to work. So I recommend stamping and everything after you've got this put together, just to make sure that you are going to be able to line everything up. It does give you that little bit of a attention if something doesn't stamp perfectly, but I think it's much easier to stamp this once everything is put together. Now, you don't have to do this. I have a second strip of that plain, straight, white strip cut out. I wanted to cover the back of my brad, just so you don't see those little edges. So I'm going to just layer this along the back just to make it a little bit neater. Now we're going to go ahead and stamp out our clapperboard. So I'm going to use some white embossing powder for this. So I want to make sure that I'm going to hit that with my powder tool so I don't have any powder sticking where I don't want it to be. And then I'm going to use my Versamark ink. And I'm going to make sure I ink this up really well. I don't want to have to stamp it twice. It is on my Misty. I do have it down with a magnet, but because this is such a large stamp, I can't place a magnet at the bottom. So I'm just doing my best to make sure that this is down and hitting everything. We'll go ahead and add our white embossing powder. And now you'll see that I got some Versamark ink on the edges of that. And because I pressed it so thoroughly, there's some that are just, it kind of wants to stick in the middle. That's okay. I'm going to take my paintbrush and I will wipe that away. It took me a little longer than normal because I had a little bit more to brush away, but it worked out just fine. For the inside here, I'm going to stamp out the sentiment, happy, happy birthday. And I am using Concord and 9th Bluebell for that. Kind of sticking here with my blue theme. I want to make sure I get a nice solid stamp of that. Still getting used to these new inks that I purchased, so sometimes it takes me a couple more swipes. And then with the darker ink, this is Blueberry. I'm going to stamp out Time to Celebrate You. So off camera, I did go ahead and cut out my numbers. This is going to be a 21st birthday card. And I also went ahead and die cut that Time to Celebrate You out as well. I'm going to layer this sparkly diamond glitter cardstock with a little bit of that lighter blue behind it. Just want a little shadow of that peeking out to give us some dimension. I'm going to glue down this Time to Celebrate You. And then I've got a bunch of our confetti cut out. This is, again, included in with this clapper set. It's got lots of little pieces, some little squiggles. And I did these in all the lighter and darker blue, as well as some in our diamond glitter. So I'm just going to kind of place these around until I get something that I like. I decided I didn't want too much more of the diamond since our whole number is in that. So I am going to put little droplets of that, but mostly we're going to focus on the dark and light blue. And then for our numbers, I've gone ahead and popped those up with some foam dots just to give us a little bit more dimension. And I'm going to carefully place these down, trying to keep them nice and straight. And then I'm just going to add some little dots of glue, and we'll place in some of the smaller pieces of our confetti. Just kind of burying those, pulling in some sparkle and some of each of the blues. And that is going to complete our card. Give you a close-up look here. Now, if you didn't quite catch it on this one, I actually have 2 more of these cards coming. This is going to be kind of like a clapper card week for you guys. So I'm going to take you through 2 more of these the next couple of days. I do just want to show you this does fit perfectly inside an A2 sized envelope. Careful of those popped up numbers. Here are a few close-ups of the finished card. In the description box below, you'll find my blog post, which has additional photos and links to the supplies I've used. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.